It's a view. It's a plan. It's a business plan. That's Lookout Mountain for you. Located just southwest of downtown Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain offers some truly jaw-dropping views over the city. Some of the prices, though? Well, it depends. It could be free if one of the 5 parking spots is open, but others? Not too bad. But some of them might make your wallet cry. Some of you won't care. You'll pay whatever it takes to take in the memories, the experiences, and the Instagram selfies that will make your frenemies want to turn off social media for the week. Also, you might be loaded. But there's a bigger story here. Lookout Mountain isn't just a tourist trap loaded with history, it's also a community. A very wealthy one. In fact, it's the wealthiest community in the Chattanooga metro area. Before we get into all of that, if you could just take a second, make sure to head on down below and find the subscribe button, hit it, and like this video, I would really appreciate it. At least doing that costs less than visiting Lookout Mountain, which is saying something. Alright, so here's what happened here. Back in 1863, the Confederate Army pushed towards Chattanooga after their victory at Chickamauga. As Union troops looked to defend Chattanooga, the Confederates surrounded the city and posted up on Lookout Mountain because, surprise, the higher ground gave the Confederates a great view of what the Union Army was doing. As part of their strategy, the Confederates also cut off Union supply lines. Shortly after, the Union and Confederate forces clashed at Wauhatchie in the valley to the west of Lookout Mountain, and the Union Army was successful in opening up a supply route that was called the Cracker Line.
That's gotta be racist.
Really? You're offended by that? I'm not really offended by that. I think that's a great name for the trail. We should keep it. I don't think that's racist. No, not at all. Anyway, can we talk about this map? I hate when they do this. North is to the left, and west is to the bottom. So the valley that they clashed in is towards the bottom of the map. Here, that should help. Sort of, but now all the words are sideways. Great.
Goodbye.
Anyway, the Union Army then swept through the northern slopes of Lookout Mountain in what's referred to as the Battle Above the Clouds. The fight ultimately was won by the Union Army, led by Union General Ulysses S. Grant. So Point Park is only $10 for an adult to enter. That's not bad at all, because you get a view like this. Along with Point Park, you also have Sunset Rock on the west side of the mountain that overlooks Lookout Valley. That view is free. The challenge is getting a parking spot, unless you don't mind walking too far. Then on the Georgia side of things, you have the biggest touristy venue of them all called Rock City. Today, it's mostly known for its Mountain View top, where you can stand in one spot and allegedly see 7 states. So Tennessee and Georgia are gimmies, but also Kentucky, Virginia, and North Carolina if you look towards the left, South Carolina and Alabama if you look towards the right. And all of this panoramic glory can be yours for a few minutes for $43.
Thank you, come again.
If you're a child, it's about $10 less. Your ticket gets you more than just the 7-state view though. You get to see the gardens, a bamboo tunnel, rock formations that feel like Disney on a budget, and a lot more. But make no mistake, the view of seeing 7 states is the biggest draw. Back in 1935, Rock City was Instagram before Instagram. They launched a marketing campaign that involved painting "See Rock City" on 900 or so barns across 19 states. It was Clark Byers, what up, Clark Byers, who spent 3 decades on the road with a paintbrush before retiring in 1969. The property owner of each barn received free passes to Rock City because apparently nothing says, "Hey, thanks for the free billboard," like 2 complimentary tickets to see a gnome garden. Some barns have been preserved well and are treated as historic landmarks, while others have collapsed. Also, some that were along highways were forced to be removed under the Highway Beautification Act, which passed during the 1960s under Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency. And if Rock City isn't enough, there's an attraction inside the mountain too called Ruby Falls. It's an underground waterfall where they've installed colorful LED lighting to enhance the experience. It was discovered in 1928 when a guy named Leo Lambert got curious and rediscovered the now famous cave. The original Lookout Mountain Cave had been sealed off years earlier when the Southern Railway laid new tracks during Chattanooga's industrial era. Lambert, along with a mining company from Birmingham, Alabama, decided to drill straight down from the top to create an elevator shaft for a new tourist attraction. And by total accident, they broke into a second cave. Lo and behold, 1,120 feet below ground was a 145-foot waterfall that would eventually become Ruby Falls, making it the deepest underground waterfall that's open to the public in the United States. If you'd like to see it for yourself, it'll cost $26.95 for an adult and $16.95 for children.
Thank you, come again.
Next up on the tourist agenda is Glen Falls. This one is free, and depending on where you park, it's either a short, chill walk or a calf-burning hike. If you're wanting a short hike, there's limited parking along Ox Highway, so you might want to try to leave really early in the day if you want to secure a spot there. If you'd like a challenge, though, you can do what I did. Park at St. Elmo Park in the St. Elmo neighborhood and hike 2.6 miles uphill with a 587-foot elevation gain. If you're doing the long hike, once you get back to St. Elmo Park, once your legs are shot from hiking, Lookout Mountain has you covered with the Incline Railway. This one I was actually planning to pay for and ride while I was here, unlike the other scenic cash grabs, but it was closed during my April visit. Alright, well next it's time to head back down the mountain, but not in the way that I originally wanted to. The Incline is actually closed for some maintenance, and it's going to be closed for about, I think I saw 18 months. So, not going to be able to do that. Back to the car. There was actually a fire back in December 2024, so they needed to close it to make repairs. The Incline Railway is one of the steepest passenger railways in the world with a grade of 72.7%, climbing 1,450 feet along a 1-mile track. It's been serving Lookout Mountain since 1895. Back in the day, the cars were wooden and were powered by coal-burning steam engines. By 1911, the Incline switched to electric power, and fun fact, the cable was supplied by the same company that made the cables for the Brooklyn Bridge. In 1974, the Incline Railway was designated as a National Historic Site, and if you'd like, you can pay $22 for a ticket to sit very still while slowly sliding uphill into the clouds.
Thank you, come again.
Now let's talk about what it's like to live here. First, we'll head towards the Georgia side before we get back to the Tennessee side. This is Covenant College, located on the west side of the mountaintop along a road that's called Scenic Highway. It's a private Christian liberal arts college that was first founded in Pasadena, California in 1955 by the Presbyterian Church. The following year, the church moved to Creve Coeur, Missouri near St. Louis.
Been there, done that.
Before moving to its current location in Lookout Mountain, Georgia in 1964, because if you're going to pray and study, why not do it on a mountaintop with million-dollar views? Before Covenant College moved in, this was home to the abandoned Lookout Mountain Hotel, which was a grand resort from the 1920s, nicknamed the Castle in the Clouds. It was originally owned by Paul Carter, the same entrepreneur who helped develop Rock City. Carter eventually donated much of the land to the college, so the old hotel got a glow-up and a new name, Carter Hall, which is still the centerpiece of the campus today. One thing you'll notice when patrolling the mean streets of Lookout Mountain, Georgia is the names of the streets. Red Riding Hood Trail, Aladdin Road, Peter Pan Road, Cinderella Road, Mockingbird Lane, Princess Trail, Gnome Trail, Tinkerbell Lane. Imagine being a grown man and telling your old high school buddies, "Yeah, I live on Tinkerbell Lane." Not meaning to sound like a douche nozzle, but come on, that's not something that a lot of guys could say with a straight face. At least it's a really nice place to live, though. Wake up every morning with good vibes from the mountaintop views after a morning walk or jog or run, or whatever exercise people with money pretend to enjoy, right? People with money because it's not cheap to live up here. If you want to have a mountaintop view from your living room, it'll cost you $2.9 million. But if you can settle for living on top of the mountain and then walking to see the views, $450,000 isn't too bad. That's a small house though. Other options are as high as $700,000, but it looks like $450,000 is about as cheap as it gets. Things aren't much different on the Tennessee side. It's all the same community really, although there's a listing as low as $269,000, but that's just an empty lot. A nice looking empty lot though. Otherwise, houses are at about the same exact price point. $675,000 for this one. Nice size with over 2,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Then you have another lot with a mountaintop view over the city that's listed for $2.66 million. So basically, you could pay for that view from your living room, or you could pay for that view for $2 million less by buying a house that's 200 yards away. Lookout Mountain, Tennessee is home to 2,112 people with a median age of 49. So yeah, not exactly overrun with toddlers. It's less playground chaos and more so the rich grandma and grandpa enjoying their view in peace. The Chattanooga Times Free Press confirmed as such with an article they posted last year. The median household income? Oh, you know, just a casual $195,000 per year. Nothing too special. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. While the poverty rate is just 2% compared to 13% for the greater Chattanooga metro area where the median household income is only $68,000. So basically, life up here is all about the scenic views and tax write-offs. For the Georgia side, the population is 1,825. The median age drops by 10 years, probably thanks to the college students from Covenant College. The median household income? Still nothing to sneeze at, $150,000 per year. Also, probably thanks to the students from Covenant College. So yeah, if you've got the cash, a love for scenic views, and zero desire to interact with normal people ever again, hey, Lookout Mountain could be your mountaintop retirement plan. Well, people, it is now that time. You can't always trust a drunk skydiving instructor, just like how you can't always trust a blind bridge inspector, but you can always trust Chris's Livability Score.
Education.
Remember when I said that the median age was 49 years old? Yeah, there aren't too many high schoolers that live in either Lookout Mountain, Tennessee or Georgia, so it's not really a top priority here, but it's safe to assume that the ones who do live up here, a good majority of them probably attend private schools or they're homeschooled. For those who go to public schools, in Tennessee, a student in Lookout Mountain will attend Lookout Valley Middle School and High School, which surprisingly has a really low enrollment count for it being in a populated area, and it doesn't rank very highly in academics. Niche.com gives it a 3.5 out of 5, for example. It mostly serves a population in the Lookout Valley area rather than the Lookout Mountain community, so it's not the same demographic. For the Georgia side, students would attend Ridgeland High School, which is a much larger high school, serving over 1,000 students, but it performs around the same academically as the other, while it generally serves a lower income population rather than the wealth that you'll find on Lookout Mountain. Education gets a 7 out of 20.
Crime.
The crime rates for both Lookout Mountain, Tennessee and Georgia are nearly non-existent. Communities don't get much safer than this. It gets a 20 out of 20.
Downtown.
This is a hard one for this place. There isn't really a traditional downtown for either community in Tennessee or Georgia, but we'll go ahead and call the area surrounding Point Park the downtown. It's all touristy centered, so it draws a lot of people in. There's a gift shop, a historic entrance to Point Park that was built around 1905, beautiful homes, beautiful views, so it's definitely full of good vibes. It's just not a traditional downtown, but I'll give it a 10 out of 20.
Economy.
Another tough one to grade, as the Chattanooga metro area's economy is rather weak for a city of its size, but Lookout Mountain's home values are well above average. The people who live here definitely have money, and the tourism revenue that Lookout Mountain generates is significant. Visitor spending in Hamilton County is around $175 million per year, and you can bet that a good chunk of that comes from the attractions that surround Lookout Mountain. Economy gets a 15 out of 20.
Environment.
Not too many environmental concerns to be found here. Industry has stayed off of the mountaintop throughout modern human development. Chattanooga, historically a heavily industrialized city and at one point was considered to be one of the most polluted cities in the country, but it's not really that anymore. This area is beautiful. It gets a 19 out of 20.
Recreation.
There are so many hiking trails to check out surrounding the Chattanooga area, and you have some of the best ones right here in Lookout Mountain. There's hang gliding, river rafting if you're willing to drive a little bit further, and much more to check out. Recreation gets a 17 out of 20.
History.
I didn't even dive all that deep into explaining the history of Lookout Mountain because I didn't want to bore you, and I didn't want to lose you as a viewer. Really, just walking through Point Park and seeing it shows you an illustration of how deep the history is of Lookout Mountain. It gets a 20 out of 20.
Amenities.
There's a large shopping area in Lookout Valley. There's also some shopping in the St. Elmo neighborhood, so you'll find decent places to get groceries on either side of the mountain, but the best shopping in the Chattanooga area is on the far east side of the city. Plus, other than a supersized Walmart and a few restaurant chains like Logan's Roadhouse and Cracker Barrel, there's not that much offered in the shopping area of Lookout Valley. The St. Elmo neighborhood is where you'll find your unique local restaurants and shops, and some good ones at that. Otherwise, you'll have to fight the annoying Chattanooga traffic along I-24 and I-25 in order to get a wider selection of amenities, so it gets a 10 out of 20.
Cost of living.
If you're younger than 40, you're going to have a six-figure salary and then some to own a home in Lookout Mountain. If you're older, you'll have had to have been very responsible with money throughout your younger years to be able to afford a home here. It's not cheap to buy a home, but outside of that, it's pretty affordable, especially for the Tennessee side with no state income tax, low property taxes as well. Overall, it's a relatively affordable area to live in, but it's challenging because the Chattanooga metro area doesn't have a really strong economy that offers a bunch of high-paying jobs. Cost of living, it gets an 8 out of 20. All in all, the Chris Livability Score for Lookout Mountain, Tennessee and Georgia is 126 out of 180, putting it in 6th place out of all of the places that I've done this for so far. Alright, so I have a confession to make. I was kind of trolling the trolls throughout this video, calling it Chattanooga. Yeah, I know, Chattanooga. I get it. There's an extra A between the T and the N. Yeah, I know. Thanks for that. So yeah, anyway, if you made it this far into the video, anyone who's down there commenting on my mispronunciation of Chattanooga, yeah, joke's on them. They didn't watch the whole thing.
Good one.
I get it though. I mean, if I'm wrong, right? I'm not right, I'm wrong. So I get it. And I've never been the best at local dialect and pronouncing names of different regions. I've always screwed that up, even before my YouTube days. Just kind of one of those things that keeps haunting me. In fact, I used to live near Louisville, Kentucky, lived there for 6 years, and I could never say the name of that place right off the top of my tongue. Louisville? I made a lot of people mad, but it is what it is. Anyway, Chattanooga became the first national park city in the US, which was the whole reason why I came to this area, because I thought that maybe it would be a trending topic, but I guess I was wrong since nobody watched it. I think it's more so because nobody in Tennessee knows who the hell I am. Anyway, if you're interested in learning what that's about, you can watch this video here. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.